Today we're talking about delayed gratification. You know, that wonderful, awful period between anticipation and realization, when you start questioning whether this good thing you've been working toward is really ever going to happen. How can we keep our sanity and remain present while living in hope? Let's get into it. Welcome back to Happy Hour with Ruth and Roxy, the podcast where an ex-evangelical prairie girl and a downtown Toronto wild child walk into a bar and never leave. We're your hosts, Roxy, that's me, and Ruth, and we're excited to see you again. Each week we serve up unfiltered conversations, questionable advice, and just enough wine to make it all make sense. So grab a glass and settle in. It's Happy Hour. Welcome to Happy Hour with
Ruth
and Roxy. And Neo's down here too, probably gonna knock something over.
He loves me, but that's okay.
Pain in the butt right now.
So we're here again. And today, what are we drinking, Roxanne?
Today, oh, there we go. That shows off more of us.
Us. I like that. That's like when I was in Alaska on the trip you couldn't go.
Yeah.
And we went with the madam, and she made us walk across the street like that.
Strutting your stuff.
Yeah, you don't want to drink that with the straw. Just saying.
Why?
Because
because the booze is at the bottom?
Well, no, because alcohol, you take in less air. I think, like, I just remember that from back in my younger days. But
the things that you know that I do not know.
They're mostly about bars.
Oh, I love these, actually. They're glass straws. That's really dangerous.
We could have a sword
So, cheers. Tell us what we're drinking today.
So, we're drinking Rum Punch. So, this is...
Ooh, it smells good.
I learned how to make this from our friends Stephen Hodgkin and Mick Hodgkin and who knows where he learned to make it, but he makes rum punch as good as in the Caribbean, right? So it's always been this. It is delicious. So he is one of those people who is this amazing cook and makes great drinks, but he shares the recipes.
Oh,
right. And for me,
that's very generous.
But he also is like, for me, he's like, here's a really great recipe, you should make it. It's not even till I've tasted it. He's already done it, because they live in New Hampshire. But it's a really generous thing, because he knows I like to cook. But it's like, yeah, this one was good. I tried 3 before, but you don't do those. Do this one. It's a good recipe, right?
Wow.
My cheater cassoulet comes from him.
Oh, it's delicious too. Well done, Stephen. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Stephen. Yep, thank you for the rum punch.
I would like to compliment you on your top.
Thank you. I would like to compliment you on yours.
And we would both like to compliment Vibe Apparel.
Yes.
Vibe Online.
Out of Nelson, BC. But be careful, because there's a little faker out there trying to pretend to be Vibe. Oh. So I don't know if they've disappeared yet, but it was like, that's not Vibe.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. I did come across that once when I was...
But Vibe Online is where you want, and that's where we get a lot of our clothes, right? They are beautiful. A lot of them are Italian linen or cotton or that kind of thing.
It's a woman-owned store, and she shops. I mean, the linen is all Italian, so I don't know. Yeah, where I don't know when we're talking about U.S. And I don't know. Maybe they're jeans. I don't know, because I bought one pair of jeans. That's not true, but this is a great. They are, not only do they have great clothes that are reasonably priced for what they are, right? These are really good pieces that last for a very long time. But their customer service is spectacular. If you have any issues, they're on it. They care. They absolutely are.
Like, it's really, so we're going to put a link in it, but this sort of leads into our refresh.
Our refresh, but I have to tell you what happened when I came back from holidays, because I brought this with me when we went to Kauai, because it's so lovely, right? I always bring nice clothes when we go on vacation, and then I end up in vacation in yoga pants and a tank top. Yeah. And flip-flops. We have the whole time.
You're aspirational when you pack,
I know,
right?
I am. I'm like, ooh, I've never worn this before, so of course I'll wear it on holidays. Nope, never do. So I come home and then, I wasn't sure what I washed or what I wore and what I didn't, so I just threw everything in the wash. And one of my lovely pairs of linen pants had a little Kleenex in the pocket because I never go anywhere without tissues.
Right. Oh, no.
So, and I do this all the time. I'm used to it. But heads up, Kleenex sticks to linen like you would not believe. And I throw them in the wash and then I take them out to hang them to dry because it's linen.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
And I had to throw them in the dryer just to knock get rid some of it off just a little bit. And they all did fine. But I'm still I'm like... If you see me picking at my boobs, it's because I've got Kleenex bits on there.
But you know what else? So here's the challenge, being friends with her. So first of all, her hair always looks good. She's got long lashes. She's beautiful. And then she wears blue, and her eyes are this magnificent blue. And now she's got green, and now they're green.
Now they're green.
Like, this is unfair. This is completely unfair. Like, I'm lucky if I don't have raccoon eyes from mascara.
Well, I'm wearing glasses today because my eyes are just driving me crazy. It's allergy season, and I don't know what's going on. I'm falling apart like an old Ford, and my eyes are
like an old Ford. You can tell she's a prairie girl.
Yeah, but also, like, since I had my lens exchange surgery, I don't need glasses for distance anymore, and it's been coming up 2 years since I did that, and my face feels naked. When I look at myself in the mirror, I'm like, what is missing? What's wrong with you? Something's funny, missing. Eh? And then I do this, and I'm like, well, those glasses don't work very well. But now your face looks normal.
Those glasses are beautiful.
I actually really like these. Yeah, they did a good job. I had these as work computer lenses before they had my high prescription in. And I had them put like progressives with just clear glass in the top. And it's not quite right. Mm-hmm. It's close, but it's not quite right. So if you see me staggering, it's the glasses.
Yeah, it's not the rum.
Yeah, it's not the rum.
But I told you about glasses and me, right? I think I might have told you guys this too. So early on in my career, especially doing issues and crisis, quite often I was the only female in the room with a sometimes board of directors or the C-suite or something if there was an issue with the thing. And lots of times people are so kerfuffled during an issue that they kind of lose their North Star, and they're not going to do something bad, but they just want to fix it, right? So I was going in, and it's like, I talk fast, I'm a little excitable, but I had to ground myself so that they'd pay attention to me, right? Because I'm sometimes I'm the conscience in the room, and sometimes I'm like, you're not doing anything, right? And so all these grown-ups, usually with gray hair, who are old enough, to be my dad, right? They're doing stuff. So I started wearing readers, like just fake readers, right?
Yep.
Because first of all, they made me feel a bit protected. And,
Yep.
But the other thing is I'd keep them on my head, and they were a prop, or I'd take them off when they were saying something, and I would use them. And then one day, somebody said, here, try these readers on, right? And they were real readers. Like, they weren't, because the ones I got were zeros. They were just prop glasses.
Okay.
And then, so they handed it to me, and I put it on. I was like, crap, I can read now.
No.
Right? And read better, because I could read.
Because you don't need glasses. Like, you didn't grow up wearing glasses.
No,
right?
I didn't get glasses that I wear most of the, and I don't wear these all the time.
No, I know.
But not until it was, I was probably in my 50s when I had used readers. Wow. But then it just freaking progressed.
Yeah, as it does. Oh, that's interesting. But now when you're doing computer work, you always wear them. Yeah. So, they're always on.
And if I'm cooking, I read them just because you're looking from the recipe and chopping and all this stuff.
That's what I've really noticed too. Like, my distance vision is great. It's not quite 20/20 as it was initially, and then it's kind of faded a bit from that. But I don't need them for distance. It's great. Driving, it's all fine. Yeah. Which has never been, like, I was blind to there, right? Pretty much. But... And they warned me beforehand. They said your near vision you might need readers, like everybody my age needs them, right? And
you mean 21?
Yes, that's right. And I didn't before because my prescription had progressives in them. So I was always, but even, I would often do this. My kids always mocked me. They're like, Mom, you're always looking over your glasses if you need to see something close. Like a granny. And now I can't see to do my nails. Like, it's like there's no good spot unless I have glasses on.
Right. That's what a manicurist is
I've never done that in my life.
Really?
Yeah.
But you had pedicures.
Yes, pedicure is good. Yeah, pedicure is no problem. No, I'm weird about my fingers. I don't know.
The stuff you learn, right?
I'm weird about lots of stuff, but yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about our refresh.
Yes, let's talk about our refresh.
Okay, you go first.
No, you go first. I don't know what you're talking about.
So we had a conversation, and you know, by the time this goes up, the love notes are going to come back. We're going to be writing more blog posts. And we had a conversation because both of us, but I'll just speak for me now, with what's been going on in the world and, you know, a whole bunch of things. I mean, the big part, what's going on, we had an election in Canada that was worrisome. But I mean, it's good that the person we wanted to got in. It's the person, I thought I was going to have to bless you. Bless you,
possibly.
My child. Yes.
Possibly. This is why I always keep tissues.
Yeah. But it, you know, there was stress out there. And I mean, for us, there's added stress. We're a little busy with a big report right now. And then our house is up for sale, which is the stupidest time in the universe right now to sell a house because everybody's concerned about the tariffs and money and a recession and all that. But like I could find myself sinking deeper and deeper a little bit into the swamp. And we talked about it yesterday when we were talking about what we talk about today. And it's like that boiling frog.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Where you're in it. So you don't quite realize that you're sinking deeper and deeper into
it's getting
into
hotter
the
and
swamp.
hotter and you're starting to disappear.
Yeah.
And you don't appreciate it until something changes or somebody else says, you know, hey, what's going on with you or whatever.
Oh.
That's a timer
it
for
is a
interesting
timer. It
things.
is. So we're going to pause just for 1 second here. We'll be back. But we've got something in the oven that we'll tell you about. And we're back. So we'll insert the cooking stuff somewhere. Maybe not here because we're in the middle of a conversation, so that's kind of interesting to do.
But you know what? Like that's interesting that you're talking about the refresh and the reset and all that because you were really down. You were really struggling. And one of the things you do when you're really happy is you bake and you cook. And you always do that.
Yep.
And you didn't stop exactly. But this is the first time I've seen you bake something like this, kind of when it doesn't fit into, like you had to take time to do this, right? Like it was a fun thing, but you really wanted to do it, and you made time to do it.
And so part of that is because our house is for sale, and so if a showing comes up at a random time, right, you want. But then I did realize, and part of it is, but that's the other thing is the love notes and cooking.
Yeah.
Bring me joy.
Yeah.
Right? And so when you stop doing it, so when you're in the boiling water, right, and you stop doing them because you're in the boiling water, and it's like, you know, the love notes were like a 4-year-old kid with cancer just got disappeared, right? They're saying deported, but the kid didn't do anything. He was an American citizen.
It's a kid.
Right? And with cancer, like stage 4 freaking cancer, right? So it was just like, how am I going to talk about how I think these new spring flowers are beautiful when this is happening? But we've had some really good heart-to-hearts because it has been challenging for everyone, you know, more challenging for some, like the parents of that poor kid.
No kidding.
Right? But we have to find little pieces of happiness and joy, and you have to come back and ground yourself because you're of no use to somebody if you're laying on the couch with your face in the cushions.
That's exactly right. It's you have to stay knowledgeable and aware of what's happening, and then you have to deliberately find a way to find peace and joy anyway.
Yeah. Well, that's just it. And find those moments, and you can't feel guilty because me being excited about cooking this random thing that might taste like poo, right? We don't know.
I don't have a reasonable, legitimate data point to counteract that, but I'm going to say right now it's not going to taste like poo.
Well, we'll see, right? But anyway, but the other side of that is me taking time to do this didn't change anything for it didn't take away from anybody that I'm trying to help or anything that I'm going to do. And I think it's really important that we remember that and bring the little bits of joy, which goes back to, and this is a long, convoluted way of doing it. We're not going to stop ranting because
we're always going to rant. It's happy hour. What's a happy hour without a rant?
Without a bitch session, right? Yeah. But also what's going on in the world needs to be called out. And not everybody pays as much attention to certain things. We all have our things we pay attention to.
I didn't pay attention until I met her. Now I pay a lot of attention.
Yeah. But the others,
too much some days.
Well, that's just it, right? I mean, once you know, you can't unknow.
That's it. Like once you exactly, the blinders are off, and now you can't not see things.
So there's a term called low information voters.
Oh yeah,
and that isn't insulting, right?
Yeah,
it's they don't the world they live in. The information they're not getting it's not that they're not getting it or don't have access, but around them there aren't people pushing the information.
You might not, I mean, and I can say for myself, I didn't, and I still have like sort of the loosest body of knowledge on how the world works. Yeah. Like, how does the electoral system work? How is our federal and provincial and municipal politics, how is that all set up? What does everything mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, I missed that class in civics. I missed civics. I missed that, everything.
But unless you're in politics, I don't think anyone knows. Because even me, you know, they just announced that the leader of the opposition party here, who lost, the Conservatives, and they are far farther right than they've ever been at Polar.
Yeah.
But so he lost in his home riding of Carleton, which is Ontario, and it looked like he was going to be, you know, ousted. But he got somebody who's in an absolutely conservative riding in Alberta to step down, so he can take that over and stay on as the leader. Right?
Social media is blowing up about it. Yeah. They are not happy.
Right, but because that feels like cheating.
Totally feels like cheating. Yeah.
But I had to Google, because in my head it was just like, how is that legal? How is that you voted for? And they do have to have a special election.
Okay.
But okay, that's our money.
Yeah.
That's taxpayer money because he's a crybaby.
Yeah.
And I would say this about a Liberal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like, you lost. Get over it.
Exactly. Like, how many times do you need to be told? In how many ways? Yeah. In how many places do you need to be told? Yeah.
But like, see, he took it. Now he's in this really red riding. The guy that won there, it's like he won by like 5 times the votes, right? It's a very safe riding.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to donate to whoever's going to go against him, because maybe they can change some minds. And I hope some true conservatives, not the far right ones, are angry about this, right? Mm-hmm. Because the reason they lost the election is because he's too Trumpian.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that, but you know, so there's our rants, right? We're always going to have these.
Yeah.
But what we are going to do is we're going to focus a little bit more. One of the segments we're going to do is going to be about what we love about Canada, and that's going to be places like Vibe and things like that. It's going to be, we're actually going tonight to a local place called, what the heck is it called?
It's called Lakeside Beach Club, LBC.
LBC, and we're gonna tell you what we're gonna have. You know, we're going to take some
the
photos.
Food is amazing.
The food is great.
We
the
live
service is lovely.
We're in a small community, but we're in a kind of a resort community, and the lake is called Cultus Lake, and people come out here to boat. It's a summer place. People come out. But there's a few communities where people can live year-round. So to have a restaurant, a high-end, an accessible, but...
It's like a high-end pub.
Yeah, it's like exactly. But the food is...
It's very good.
It's really, really good.
And they make great poutine.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, that's...
So that is going to start us off. We're also going to we're going to go on, hang on, I wrote it down, on the Great Poutine Taste Test. Oh. So over the next few months, we're going to, everywhere we go, and we're going to make ourselves go out more, because that's also a good thing for you, right?
So my husband and I tend to be those people that at about 4:30, one of us looks at the other and says, what do you feel like eating tonight? And the other one says, I don't know, I sure don't feel like cooking. Okay, let's go out.
Yeah.
So we tend to do that, whereas you plan your meals 2 or 3 weeks in advance, and you always know what you're going to have, and you always order your food, and I'm, you know, like, she'll say to me, hey, let's do this, and I'm like, I don't have anything in the house because I haven't shopped for 3 weeks because we just go out. So we tend to go out more, and LBC is kind of,
that's your place.
Love it. Oh. We love that place. Okay, now it's time.
We're going to pause.
I'm just going to help you out here.
you need to leave that in. You need to. So the thing is, when I'm especially baking, because I didn't have a mom who baked, so I came to baking later in life. My parents cooked things, and Saturday was date night, and they would always make something before the internet. They would make something from a different country or a different region or something. It was really cool. So I grew up being interested in cooking, but baking came later, and so now I don't have the skill sets people have who make. They know when to go wipe their hands. They know. So I walk around the house and Paul's like, you have flour everywhere. or else I'll go to walk the dogs and he's like, you should go look in the mirror with you if I have black yoga pants on, because it looks like I have handprints of white on my butt. Right? Because I'm wiping it. Right? I'm like... And so I do not have the etiquette.
Oh, that's
of a
hilarious.
Baker.
My mom's a baker, and I learned that was one of my favorite things to do with her, right? It was like, oh, we're going to bake cookies, we're going to bake brownies. She made homemade donuts, homemade cinnamon buns. She had sourdough before it was called sourdough.
Oh, wow.
She called it was it monster dough. That's what she called it, monster dough. But it was basically a fermented thing.
So it was a home fermented.
Yeah. And she had special recipes she made with that, and she loved baking. And her buns, I mean, she still makes them now and then, and they are just.
Next time I see her, I'm gonna say, I've heard about your buns, and see how she reacts.
My dad makes jokes about that. I love your mom's buns.
Oh, that's so cute.
It's very cute.
Yeah. But see, this is the thing. You have to do this, or else you're not going to be there for anybody else.
Yes.
It's a little bit about that thing, like putting on the oxygen first, which is really funny, because when we do I do it with friends and people all the time. It's like, look, you have to take care of you. I do it with clients when they have an issue or crisis.
Yeah.
First of all, you need to go home and get some sleep.
Yeah.
You put out the first communication. Nothing's going to happen in 4 hours, right? You can't do anything, whatever it is. It's being handled as well as it can. You can't share, but you don't do it for yourself.
No, we do not. It's very true. Yeah, because we want to, at least some of us. I mean, I was raised, and I think you too, maybe it's a generational thing, to be very independent, to be like terminally independent.
Yep.
We don't need anyone. We can do it. And that's kind of a North American dream sort of thing, right? Like, in some, it's definitely the American cowboy idea, right? Stoic independence and stoic solitude.
Out there with your horse, on your own.
Don't need anybody. I don't need you. I don't need anybody.
And yet when you travel, and this is why I was thinking about travel, and I've been thinking a lot about Africa, because a friend taught her kids, her grown daughter and her daughter's husband are going to Africa camping. But I was thinking about it's
nope,
awesome.
That's a hard no.
But like I was thinking about in Africa, and in so many places, and even in Europe and Italy, families are a collective. Friends are a collective, because for many years that's who you had to survive with, right? That's how you and here, you can order groceries that come to your door, and there's all these things. But here it's like, but it's also a little bit like being, I'm not a mom, but the mom who does everything. Right?
Yeah.
And you can't.
No, you can't.
One of the things that you've said that has really helped me is, if you're going to have something, do something, be something, you have to give something else up.
Oh, right? Yeah. Everything you say yes to means something else you're saying no to. And that's really hard. But yeah, you're right. If you decide that you want to do a certain thing, it means something else has got to go. Something else has got to go somewhere. And I'm watching my my middle daughter right now with her new little 3-month-old baby who is just given her,
and she's so cute, but
so
it's so
cute, but she's a colicky baby.
Yep.
And Andrea's first baby was colicky too, which is hard, because I told her, you're not going to have 2 of those. I had 1 out of 3, and it was her that was a colicky, really challenging. Like, you're always moving. You have to bounce this kid all the time, because otherwise they're just screaming.
Well, and also, Andrea, I mean, her little guy is coming up on 2?
He's 2.5.
Okay, 2.5. The terrible 2s, man, at the same time where you have a little one that's...
And he's an energetic, he's a very emotionally resilient, independent, as much as a 2.5-year-old is, but he knows his own mind, he wants what he wants, and he's not what you'd call compliant in the sense that, like you can beat your kid into compliance. And
she doesn't mean beat, just saying.
Well, but really, like, you can make a kid be compliant at that age. You absolutely can. And she and her partner, they're not doing that.
Yeah,
like, they're not doing that.
It's
a tougher way to live. But it makes healthier people in the end.
Yeah, but that's just it, right?
Right. So that's what they're doing, and so they have. So it's challenging. And I'm watching her, and she's doing all. My daughter is doing. She's doing all the right things, and it's just
she's doing
hard.
Everything you can, and it's hard. But that also goes back to what we were just saying. It's okay to say it's hard, and that you need support somehow, and that's it is a difficult thing for both you and I, because and you even more physically, because if I tried to lift the table and I couldn't do it, I'd be hollering for you. I look out at Roxanne slugging this huge tree.
Oh yeah, I'm like, I don't need you, I don't need anybody. I'll just die out here, and then you'll be sorry.
But so let's talk about sort of what the catalyst was for this, because it was actually kind of a disappointment.
Yeah.
So we had some exciting things happen. So
So if you follow us on social media, you may have seen our puck off
video, angry Canadian rant on video.
And it's something that if you watch late night TV, which neither of us do actually, because we're always in bed.
But I watch reruns of Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah, that's true.
Just
and I don't. So Jimmy Kimmel put out a call.
Yeah.
Or we saw the first one.
Well, I think they already had it in the like they must have seen this guy doing it. I don't know if he did it for them, and then they thought. And I don't know this for sure. Yeah. But anyway, they had it. This fellow, he looked like he was in a cowboy somewhere, and he is kind of like, you're not coming to Canada to take it over, Trump. Like, screw you. This is my.
It was pretty cute because he
really
was
good.
Dropping F-bombs that they had to bleep out every other word.
Right.
Like,
so we did one, and we had fun doing it. We actually did about 12, and then we with Roxanne magically put them together
5.
because
it was
they
5.
were. They
the cut and paste.
Yeah, none of them. We were not one take wonders that day.
We are not ever one take wonders.
So then we put it out on a Tuesday night, say, and on Wednesday we got an email from a producer.
Yeah, the next
from
morning.
Jimmy Kimmel, right, and who's a lovely person and got us to sign, the release form and did all the things.
We love it. We're going to air it. Those were the words.
Yeah, the writers loved it. So we're like, we're funny.
We're awesome.
Us,
Look at us.
Look at
this
us.
Is so great,
right?
And so then
silence.
And we're staying up past 8:30, you guys, to watch Jimmy Kimmel. And no Ruth and Roxy.
We are so sad.
And no Ruth and Roxy again. Yes. And then another night with no Ruth and Roxy.
And so we didn't tell a bunch of people, but we told a few people.
Who
then good-naturedly are like, when's it going to come on?
So when is it? And we're like, we don't know. We don't know anything.
We don't know. And given the work that both of us have done in our worlds, we should realize until it's real, it's not real.
Delayed gratification that's a tough one. So that speaks to what we were talking about with my daughter,
and what we're gonna what we're talking about today sort of is. But then we reached out to the producer just to check in, and he said right now it's on pause for whatever reason, we don't know. But he said we're still going to air it. We just don't know when. And that was a bit deflating because it was we were waiting. We were trying to be patient and waiting and stuff, and doing the things. And then, but then all of a sudden, we had this little conversation, and it was like, but you know what? Jimmy Kimmel saw our video. It was good enough for him to take a look at. It's good enough for them, whether he's the producer's just being kind to us or not, to say no, we're going to air it. It's just we're figuring it out.
It made an impression in the writers' room, and that's a big deal.
So nobody can say we're not funny anymore. Just saying.
Yeah, exactly. We are hilarious.
Yeah, we're hilarious.
Jimmy Kimmel's writers think we're hilarious.
And I'm just going to add. I expect Jimmy thinks we're hilarious too.
Yes,
because we can just what's the word? Extrapolate. Yeah.
Something.
Words, man.
Something like that.
We're good. Yeah, we can just. Okay, we're just making it up, but we can just assume Jimmy thought we were funny too. Just saying.
Totally. But that idea, like it's funny because delayed gratification is kind of my thing. I love anticipation. I love to think about, ooh, here's an exciting thing that's going to happen. If something exciting is on the horizon, I want some time to build up an appetite for it.
Right.
I want to savor the anticipation and think about.
Okay, ask her about her Halloween candy.
So when I was a kid, we would go trick-or-treating, right? And then we'd come back and we'd sort through all our loot, and it was great. And it's me, my sister, my brother, and my sister would eat hers all like in a week or so, and I would I'm gonna have one Kit Kat tonight, then I'm gonna have some Smarties the next day, and I would have Halloween candy stretch from one Halloween to the next, like for a whole year, because I'm like, I want to have some all year long. And so what do I get into then? I get into writing, where honestly the whole business of selling books is delayed gratification. You write a book. Okay, well, that's great. Then you send it to a publisher, unless you're contracted, but you send it to a publisher, and then you wait 6 months, 8 months, a year and a half for someone to say, could you revise it and resubmit it? And then you start the whole process all over again.
Yep.
It's a complete delayed grad. And then you sell one book, and then it's like, oh, what do you got? What else you got? What else you got? And it's all just, well, you know what? Once you've got, 30 books out, still waiting to find my audience, because it just takes so much time.
And 2 movies sold, 2, right?
Yeah, well, 1 movie for sure, and then another TV series. Right. But it just takes
time.
So long.
But the other thing is, there is joy in that process, and I think that's what this, because it was like, we're not on, and then it was like, oh my gosh, you know what? It's a little bit like missing the forest for the trees. It's like,
yes.
Jimmy Kimmel looked at our thing and thought it was good enough. The writers who are funny as stink on Jimmy, like they are some of the best in the business, and they thought it was good enough, right? Like you kind of miss that when it's like, but what about that?
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. So that's the challenge, I think, and that's always been, my challenge. Probably,
I ate all my Halloween candy. Probably the same.
You're a middle sister.
I'm not even sure how we're friends.
I don't know.
To be honest,
it makes no sense.
But I think we're talking about that, and we're talking about. Although I have to say, delayed gratification and like the dragging out of anticipation when you're selling a house, because it's like, oh, these people are going to come and see the house and they're going to love it, and then we're going to get this house that's up that we love, and there's all these things going on. And then when Roxanne's like delayed gratification, it's like, I want to sell now.
That selling a house,
that's a whole different thing.
Well, right? it is and it isn't, because it's like once you've made the decision, it's like my husband always says, like once you look at that girlfriend or that boyfriend and you're like, yeah, I don't know, I think maybe we should break up. It's done. There is no think anymore.
There's no going back.
Once you've cracked that window open, it's over. And it's kind of the same thing. Once you've decided, I don't think I want to live here anymore, it is. You can't go back from that.
No.
So it's
just
not
a matter
like it's
of
a
time,
slow decision. No. Yeah, thanks a lot. Now you brought me here too. I still very much love it here. But I can also see how this is not, I mean, what's a forever home? Yeah. There is no forever home.
No.
There's a forever home for dogs, not for humans.
No, so, and I think maybe as kids it was a different world. But I mean, we do love it here. But it's just, as you shift into a little bit less work, like for us, the house is too big. We don't have kids, and it's just timing. Like,
it's timing, and there's fiscal responsibility too.
Yes.
You start saying, like, oh, okay, so we want to get into retirement time, and that's why we're here. Is we sold our big house because our kids were gone. We didn't need that much space, so now we're here, and then now we're looking at, but our kids are all like an hour and a half to 2 hours away from us, and maybe we want to be closer. Also, maybe we want to be closer to medical stuff.
No, but that's part of it.
So that gets to be real.
The other thing is, like, both of us have some of the biggest backyards here, right? There is a level of maintenance that comes with it, and we're lucky because you love gardening, Paul loves gardening, Ray's out there doing stuff. I don't. I cook. That's my contribution to our little collective.
You feed us when we're working,
right?
which is good.
But as you start to think about it, like, it's like sometimes it's too much.
Well, you know what? Like, I joke about lifting that tree and then, lying out there dead. But I mean, honestly, like, I still
we're not really joking.
I still lift like I'm a 35-year-old, and I can't do that
anymore. She's only 36 now.
That's true. But, like, at some point I have to recognize this is not the kind of stuff that I can keep doing.
Right, but that's
so
just
how long can I keep
and what
doing
does that mean?
And what does it mean?
And then what does it mean? Because it's really fun when we, Paul's family comes out. We have our friend Della that comes out, and we, that kind of thing. But that's 2 or 3 or 4 times, what I mean? Like, more for you because you have 3 kids, and but it's also like, other than that, then our guest room is empty. Paul maybe maybe in the mornings when he stretches in the mornings, he's up in our loft, right? I think I've watched 1 movie in the loft, right? Like, all of a sudden it's like smaller feels better.
What are you using this for? So if you could then take that equity and turn it into investment income, right? Why wouldn't you do that?
But that's just it, especially for entrepreneurs,
employed people,
right? But that's just it. We don't get a pension, right? So you have to think of that, and there's all these things. But it is an interesting thing, and in the what we'll call the Jimmy Kimmel life lesson, I've started to think about the sort of the showings and all the things. I do believe that the right house will be there when we're ready to do it. But the other thing is, I get to have fresh flowers in my house all the time right now, right?
Well,
because,
there is,
like that. I mean, like that.
That's really looking at the upside of it, because, I mean, we moved a lot. We moved a fair bit when I was a kid, and I always swore that I wouldn't do that when my kids were that age, making them change schools, and I don't like moving like that. That was, I don't remember that fondly. So we haven't moved a lot. So we lived 17 years we lived 4 years in our first house that we were in together, 8 years in the next one, 17 years in the next one. So we're like, we'll be in this one for 35 years if that continues.
Yeah.
And then we sort of sat back and we're like, okay, so 30 more years here? We've been here 5 years. 30 more years we'll be dead. So no, that's just ridiculous. Yeah. So where do we don't,
how does it flow then?
How does that work? What do you do with that?
Right.
You know? So yeah, it's interesting when you start looking at the third act of your life and you realize we're talking third of 3 here.
Yeah, but that's the other thing,
so
right?
That's weird.
Yeah.
You know, so
it is weird.
Delayed gratification at some point. So we
at some point you can't delay anymore because
like now or never,
TikTok,
baby.
Man.
TikTok. We had some ewes on the side of our house, and it was 5 of them, and 4 of them were growing great, and then one of them in the middle wasn't on the end either.
And Roxanne is a rescuer.
I am a rescuer. This tree is like, so we got, hedge, duh, and then hedge at the end. And this one was yellow, and it got kind of smothered by some bark mulch. And so I knew it wasn't dead. It was fine. I scraped away. I opened up the roots, gave it some air, and, gave it some TLC. And I told my husband, it's fine. Like, it's coming back. Look it's got new growth on it. And he says, look how long can we wait for this to look good? I want it to look good now. How long do you want to wait? And then I started thinking, I'm like, oh, he's right. I can't wait 20 years anymore. In our other house, I called the yard my 20-year project. We only lived there 17 years, so I almost got there.
That's pretty good.
I don't have a 20-year project in me anymore.
Well,
because now
you could.
Well, but I want to live there and not do the work.
But that's just it. And see,
right?
But that's the other thing, right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, what used to be the really fun stuff that would take 4 or 5, 6 hours, it's like, why can't I have an hour and a half in the garden and then sit there with a mint julep?
And also not get up the next morning feeling like you've been hit by a bus.
You notice where my priorities were. Just saying. But I think this all kind of goes back to we want to start to bring some of the happy back into the happy hour, because it hasn't. I mean, it has not been bad what we've been doing, because I think we showed support to some people who needed it.
I think so too.
Right, and I think we shared some information that was useful. Yeah. But we're going to work, and it doesn't mean we're not doing the rants. It just means that we're going to try to find, like here's one. I had a friend who is in, I'm going to forget where, but it's a border state. And they had somebody who got grabbed by ICE.
What?
Right? And so she was working, and she used to work for Tourism New Zealand, and she was in communications. So she was asking me about what Canadian media, because they're like, you got to be careful crossing these borders now, right? And the stuff and how they could get some Canadian, because they were trying to put pressure for them to release this person. And they put so much pressure on. So the people of this small town, and it might be Montana, but this small town in Montana put so much pressure. They were protesting like 24 hours a day out in front of the detention center, and they had already moved the guy, but they were protesting where he got picked up. Right. He got released yesterday.
No.
Yeah. And so the pressure's on. So the other thing is, we're going to talk about those things too, because there's actually good things happening. Like lawsuits are working. The courts are trying to like it's not all doom and gloom. It sucks. But we can't just focus on the bad stuff, because we have no control over what Trump does.
No, that's absolutely none. Nobody really does.
No, well, unless it's the Supreme Court, and then and that's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
But we are going to. So let's talk about that. We're going to talk about great places to go in Canada. We're going to try to highlight some Canadian designers and clothing places and stuff. We're going to do some restaurants locally around here, right? And depending on how long it takes me to move, we might do some trips here and there to places we haven't gone to.
Well, and even once you have moved,
then there's a whole island
I will come and see you, and we will we'll visit
we
those
have
places.
one here. Let's show them the Hawkins, because I don't know if our American friends know about Hawkins cheesies. Here, let us do that.
Oh, you guys.
Yes. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, okay.
So,
they are so delicious.
Yes,
okay.
they are. Here we go. It's going to be a big crunch. A very big crunch.
You hear that?
Oh, my God. They're so good. And they're like nothing you've ever had before.
They are.
If you get your hands on.
Such an iconic Canadian thing.
Yep.
Made in, hold on.
Hang on.
Belleville, Ontario. Cheesies with a Z.
Cheesies. And they're not like the cheesies I can remember taking those to the cottage where my friends Michelle and Stephen, the guy who gives me all the recipes, taking them there, and they're like, what are these magical things? Right?
Yeah, because they're crunchy, like they've got corn in them, I think.
And they have they're a wee bit salty, and they're just salty. But we're going to talk about stuff like that, like we're going to do great brunch places.
Yeah,
and we're just going to do a lot of things. Like, for example, did you know Canadians invented basketball? We're going to talk about that, and we're not going to talk about stay out of our country, buddy. We're just going to talk about how great Canada is and why we are so protective of our sovereignty.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We're flipping the script, Rox.
We're flipping the script. And I mean, I'm a book girl, so I'm always excited about books. And I'm going to start I've done that from time to time, talking about what I'm reading.
I think we should do, happy hour read world, but we're going to have a little bit of a focus on some Canadian writers for a bit, and not to say because during times like this in the world, because it's America's at the center of this, but Canada's got its issues too, and certainly the UK and everybody's got some issues, but we're at these are the times when we turn to authors, and we turn to poets, we turn to music.
We turn to the arts,
right? Yeah, but that's just it. We turn to the arts in COVID. We turn to the like the arts during the Vietnam War, right?
Yeah.
Like people turn to that kind of stuff, and I think every time that's the magic of the arts.
And
right?
who gets silenced first in authoritarian realms?
Yeah,
the artists.
Well, the orange fascist in the White House just said he's defunding PBS.
Yeah, there you go.
Right.
Yeah.
So because we can't contribute to political parties, but I'll sure as hell contribute to PBS.
Yeah.
Right. If we gotta find a way to pick up the slack.
Yeah.
Because he's not going to last forever. This isn't going to last forever, I hope. But we have to pick up the slack. Well, he can't. But
I mean, environmentally, just genetics, humanly, biology says he's not going to last much longer. I mean, honestly, how has he lasted this long?
Eating Big Macs.
Yeah.
And not exercising.
Exactly.
Yep. But anyway, we're sticking to the good stuff. So I'm just going to hop in and get some things. So maybe you could talk to people.
Or I could cut this all out afterwards because it'll be boring.
Okay, I'm just going to get it, and then we'll do a taste test.
Okay. Oh, taste tests are always fun. You want to say hi? Oh, you get your big out of there. There we go. Okay. Down there. Sit. Sit your big ass down. There you go. Good boy. Good boy.
Okay, we'll see now.
Okay,
here. It's a little messy.
Ooh, look at this.
We'll see how it is. It's very messy.
Bring this up nice and close to the camera. Look at that.
But for those of you who are audio, because that's another part of our refresh.
Oh, I wish you could see this.
Yes, this is a nice, high,
and for all
focaccia.
Of you, I wish you could smell it. Ooh.
It's pretty good.
Oh, that's good.
So there's almond made with, it's made with eggs and almond flour and a little bit of butter.
There's almond flour in the dough?
No, it's in the, there's like the paste, the almond paste in it.
Yeah, I see. It's almost like a, good.
It's like the almond, whatever that almond paste is called that you get in croissants. Mm-hmm. I think, I listened to what they said about the almond paste. I think it needs more paste. And I'm at the top, and maybe there's more up there, but I think I'd put more than they said in the middle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But if you go to a big chunk on the top, there's more in there. So, okay. When you get the almond paste, it's really good. But I would say we'll put the recipe up, double the paste.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a win.
That's a good one, and it's great. Would be great for brunch, right? But it is really good once you get the almond paste.
Okay, and this isn't a sourdough thing, so you can just make this in the morning.
Yep.
With the regular yeast.
Yep.
And
go. So there's an hour and a half of letting it rise, and then you put the paste on, and you do that kind of stuff, and then you leave it for another hour, and then it's just in the oven.
Okay.
It's not that complicated. It looks more complicated than it is.
Oh, it's delicious. That's a win. So
we'll put the recipe up. But see, we're going to do more of this too in the kitchen. So I did take some pictures as I was doing it.
Did you?
Of all my little things and stuff. So we're going to do better on stuff like that. We're going to ask you more questions, and we're going to ask you to share and help us build this community. You know, and we're also going to ask you to please like and hashtag some of our posts that say puck off, because we want Jimmy Kimmel to remember us and not let us go into the little archives on the cutting room floor.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah. So definitely, hey.
He's very interested.
Yeah. Follow us on social media individually. You're Ruth on all
Ruth
the things.
Ruth MBC on Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm on Blue Sky. I'm Ruth MBC there. I'll find the more, and I just put us up on TikTok, so we'll tell you more about that in the next podcast.
As Happy Hour, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I'm Roxanne Snowpeck, author on most places, and I'm not very good on social media, which really is.
But we're gonna get better.
Really bad, but I'm gonna get better. But yeah, so look us up and find things, and when you see our stuff,
please subscribe to YouTube.
Please subscribe.
So that's the other part of that is we're trying to do it. So if we can get to 1,000 subscribers, YouTube lets us, put ads up that won't be intrusive, and we're always going to make sure we know what the ads are, but it helps us build this, because what we'd actually like to do is build it into a true community where we could go to places and get together and do cooler things. Like, wouldn't it be fun, to do some kind of a trip to Europe with a happy hour crowd?
It would be so great.
Right? It would be really fun, but we have to build it up, and we're going to focus on this for the next year and see if we can build it, because again, third act, we might as well have some fun with it.
Well, exactly. And we, after many years, decades even, of being good, me more so than you, being good, quiet, keeping your voice down, being compliant,
definitely not me.
All the other smarter people are in the room talking. You know what? I have stuff to say, and I want to say it. And if not now, then when?
But that's
so
just
if not here, then how? I want to say the things that are important to me. And you guys are part of that.
But I think we all have something to say, and I think that's just it. Like, I have spent most of my career telling other people's stories. So now I want to tell the stories of the people that I want to tell, not just because, but the other thing, I want to tell your story, I want to tell my story, I want to tell the stories that are out there too.
Yes, exactly.
Right? I want us to have this conversation. Like, and honestly, we went back yesterday when we were having this talk about, let's refresh, let's do the things. It's like, how this started was, I moved in next door to Roxanne, and both of us realized that there was a need that wasn't being met, right? And we started having these random,
mostly for pizza,
and wine, but then it was like we started having these casual happy hours.
Yeah, like it's Friday. What are you guys doing?
Yeah, you want to come on
drink? Over. We'd go over to your place, whatever, and we would have these great conversations. And sometimes neighbors would join us, and sometimes other neighbors would come around and say, "Oh, that sounds like fun. Like, we'd love to join you too." And so sometimes more people will come.
Yep.
And we realize, oh my goodness, like, this is really fun.
Yep.
And lots more people could join us if we do this.
But that's just it.
So then we can invite you, be part of this.
Into the thing. And we're going to do more live. We're going to do more, when the podcast goes up at 4:00, I'm going to actually promote it instead of forgetting. But we're also going to go live on Facebook to answer questions while you're watching it if you want. We're going to do all these things. But the other thing is, especially for people because until I found you, I didn't have this.
Yeah.
Right. So there's lots of people out there that might not have it, but you could, because we're here.
You could. Well, and even my husband and I just had a conversation today, because we're starting to crack our brains open to the idea of where would we move after this if we moved somewhere else. And honestly, we're looking at some like luxury high-rise condos, which is
very
completely cool, but so different. I would never ever imagine myself there. But now I've started thinking about it. And he said the challenge for us will be not to let ourselves get isolated. Right. And that's here. It's so easy to find community.
Yeah, because this is a social community. We have a social club. There's a gardening club. Yeah. There's events all the time.
You go walk outside, and there's always somebody to hang around with. And I said to him, well,
but just for the record, she likes hanging around me the best.
I love hanging around you. But that's where, so like when you move, later on when I move, we're going to have to be more deliberate about how we get together, but we will still have this.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, gosh.
Like, this is here. And like, you guys will see us, and it'll be a split screen instead of us sitting together.
For some, right?
For some of them.
Not all of them. Like, we've made a commitment to I come here once a month or wherever, and you come where I am the next month, and then in between there's just a couple of Zoom ones, right? But that's exactly, and we're going to start having guests. So you know what? If you want to be a guest, come and tell us why. Tell us what you want to share, right? We want to do more, and we're going to get more proactive, and you know, when we're falling, at least for me, when I'm falling in the swamp, I'm going to tell you, because maybe somebody out there can give me some advice instead of Roxanne going, "Are you okay?
How you doing? How you doing today? How you doing another day?"
Yeah, she's not that gentle. Day. She's like, "What's going on?"
I don't know.
Right? But anyway, we're coming up to it. It's not quite an hour though, because we turned it on and off.
Yeah, that's true.
But we're going to try to stay. We're going to try to keep them a bit shorter, so you don't feel overwhelmed. We're just going to do all the things. So tell us what you'd like to hear from us. Tell us. Are you interested in learning more about where to go in Canada? Because it might not be places we visit. It's just that we've been there before and we could tell you. I mean, I want to go to PEI and see. I
do too.
The whole Anne of Green Gables
stuff,
right? Yeah. Stuff like that. And we're going to right? Like I want to go eat lobster.
Oh yeah,
right?
Yeah,
lobster every rolls. Meal. Right?
It's not as good as crab. I'm just going to say, like West Coast, we're used to good crab.
That's true. But crab is harder. Like,
it's harder.
Like you gotta.
Yeah, there's a lot more work involved.
There is a lot more work involved than crab. But we should do a crab lobster thing
comparison. Yeah.
Right. We're gonna do some
She's
more
the
fun
ideas
stuff.
Person.
I'm really not.
I'm the one that says yes to everything.
She does say yes. A little too easily, if you ask me. but that's not true. She has ideas. She's just a little gentler. I'm like,
I just have to turn.
We should do this.
I have to turn and show you my dogs. Oh. She stopped now.
Oh, what was she doing? Looking at him?
She is so like you call it the Elvis lip, but she just like
yeah.
And he's like, but I love you.
Yeah.
But I really, really love you.
Yeah. My little Scruffy, who loves everything and everybody unless he's on a leash. But the other day, Luna jumped up beside me and Scruffy was there, and I watched him do like I'm going to kill you, and it was like Scruffy. Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, Luna brings that out in dogs.
Yeah,
but yeah, like we got a lot of stuff ahead of us, and we're so glad that you guys are part of it, and that you've been here. Some of you have been here from the beginning,
and we really, honestly, the support is so amazing when you write us and tell us if something resonated, or you send us and say, hey, you know what? I don't think that's as accurate as you think it is. Like we love all of that.
Oh, completely, because we want to be real about it. So yeah, if we mess something up, for sure, let us know.
Also, if Jimmy Kimmel does air that, all the red hats are going to come after us, so we're really going to need
to.
But that's the other thing. But I do have to tell you, we were talking about like delayed gratification, and then we're talking about guilty pleasures because poutine. But we're talking, and I think Roxanne needs to tell you what her guilty pleasure is.
What's my guilty pleasure?
Poodle videos.
Oh yeah, I belong to quite a few poodle groups on Facebook, and partly is because I groom my own dogs, and I'm always looking for.
She said groom, not grew. I heard I grew my own dogs. So it was like we were talking about gardening, but how did you do that?
No, so I've got this set up. We've had poodles for 20 years now, so I learned from somebody who was a professional groomer, and I am by no means that, but I also don't want to spend $100 every month on one dog. We have 2 dogs now. So anyway, I watch all these videos. Hairy. Oh, he's a big boy. He's 25% bigger than he should be. Something went wrong. Mostly in my brain, because I knew he was going to get this big, but I told myself he wasn't, so it was fine. Well, I can get this puppy. He'll be fine. But anyway.
Wait, I have to interrupt for 2 seconds.
Okay.
So we had, back in the day, we got this rescue who came to us when she was 4 weeks old, right? And we had just taken an older rescue in whose person had died, and he got put in with a big aggressive other dog, and so we got this guy whose name was Sammy, and he had no teeth, and he didn't last long. He lasted 4 weeks. I think he brokenhearted because his person, right? It was really, and I was heartbroken. So the rescue then came and said, look, we have this cute little puppy, and she's mostly Chihuahua, right? And then
rescue people know exactly what they're doing. They are good at what they do,
right? But yeah, that dog was 45 pounds, and we think she was the coyote cross, right? Because she got found on a highway in Washington State. But it was like, there was no Chihuahua in that dog, man.
Not at 45 pounds.
But you know what? When she was 4 weeks old, she could fit in the palm of your... So she could fit in a little teacup. I have pictures, right? But there is no Chihuahua in that dog.
4 weeks old, you could have too. And he's 40 pounds. Yeah. I stopped weighing him at 39, so he's only 40 pounds. He'll never get more than that.
Yeah. But anyway, sorry.
But yeah, my guilty pleasure is watching these videos. And honestly, some of them are so friggin' hilarious because, I mean, I'm, mediocre. My dogs are competently groomed.
They look good.
They're fine, but
and Luna gets like these little bell bottom
I tried bracelets on her last time, yeah, and they
look great.
It looked good to start with. And my husband says, that's the only place I want her to have no hair, and that's the one place you left all her hair on, because she's a mud and a creek dog, and she's always running and chasing sticks. Anyway, so I watch these videos, and some of them, oh, you guys, they're so bad. People do such terrible, terrible things to their dogs, and I'm not talking dyeing them purple and yellow at Easter, because I actually think that's kind of cool.
And you can do it with like a non-toxic.
You can do that
like
with
it's
Jello.
like the
you
chalk.
can do that with Jello.
Yeah.
Like it totally
works.
If
I dyed Scruffy any color with Jello, he'd spend his whole day licking himself.
Yeah, exactly. But some of them, and they post pictures and they're like, "How did I do?" And I'm like, I can't answer. I can't answer this because your dog looks like he's missing his brain. Poodles have to have some hair. They've got all the hair, and then they're like, and then they just go like that far. Nope, poodle. Anyway,
it's like a bowl cut.
I just every day I'm like, I got to get off this page. I can't watch this anymore. It's just killing my life, and also making me laugh and be sad for people, but also
all
for
of
the
same
dogs.
thing.
All the things.
Nope, I get that.
And then I say, "Yep, tomorrow I'll groom my dogs." And then tomorrow comes, I'm like, "Yeah, tomorrow I'll groom my dog."
I wish I could show you. We'll get a picture of Neo and show you his ears, or how when I was younger, how I wanted my hair.
Neo,
you want to come and show people? Come here. Come on, hop up. Can you do it? Can you see? Look at his ears. I wanted hair like that. I can remember trying to get a spiral perm and it cost $1 gazillion back in the day.
I remember spiral
Except you know what? First of all, I don't have the hair for it, and I wanted it to look like that. Hey, he's a very sweet boy.
Yesterday it's mostly gone now. He had white paint on his nose because my husband painted the deck rails, and apparently he checked out the work.
Yep, he was the quality control inspector.
Yeah, he was quality control. Anyway, I think we're pretty much closing off for today. Thank you so much for being with us.
Here for our happy hour. Keep fighting, keep resisting,
keep finding joy,
and finding
wherever
joy.
you can, wherever you can, find the joy, and share it with us. Come on to our Facebook page.
Come and tell us stuff.
Come on to our website and send us a message. Honestly, like we're kind of terrible about checking. Well,
I'm not
speaking for myself. I'm kind of terrible about checking messages.
I'll respond. I haven't been great. I haven't been great while I was in the swamp, but I'm back.
She's back. Yep,
I'm back.
The food is good, and
we're gonna go on the Great Poutine Taste Test all over the Lower Mainland, right? And we might even make one night.
Ooh,
that'd be a good one.
That'd be fun.
Okay, tell us all the things. We're going to put a whole bunch of stuff in the notes, and we're hoping you'll share, and we'll put the hashtag in so Jimmy Kimmel doesn't forget us.
That's
and
right.
Also, please watch Jimmy Kimmel. He's a good man, and the people that work with him are good humans.
Yes, they are.
Right, and they're fighting a good fight. Right, they are out there telling the truth about what's going on, but they're also really nice humans.
And
right?
if you're right now waiting for something good to happen, hang in there.
Yep.
You know what? Like delayed gratification is hard,
find the joy in the anticipation
now.
Right?
Exactly. Find the joy in the anticipation. And I hope it works out for you. Best of luck with whatever it is.
And tell us.
Yeah, tell us.
Is
we want to know. We want to know your good news.
Yep. Okay.
All
have
right,
a good weekend, everybody.
Have a good week.
Talk to you soon.